How shall we start this?
Do we not start every podcast with like, hi, I'm Helen Tudor and this is the Ideal Client Attraction Podcast, or not? You can have that. Done. Rocking and rolling, let's go.
Check, check.
Check, check. Check us out now.
Check us out. Check us out now.
Podcast.
Professional podcasters with our team colours. What the fuck? What are you wearing? I don't know what you're wearing. I'm not telling you. Yeah. Tweedledee and Tweedledone.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we are. Helen, how are you, my love?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. This is our number 2, second instalment, and we are going to be discussing why isn't it working? Which is what I have here on my on my show notes, strategically in short, because I thought I'm not going to pretend I'm reading these, and we got a couple of key points here. So shall I just point out the 3 key points?
Yeah, you tell me what I'm talking about,
in,
and we'll just go for it. It's very professional. I love it.
So you are going to be talking about today. So the things we're going to discuss today is common mistakes entrepreneurs make when attracting clients.
Yeah.
The second one of the 3 is how misalignment shows up in business. And the third one is steps to uncover what's holding you back.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Let's dive in.
Let's hope I can deliver. You might need to remind. So the reason why Mark's so early is to try and keep me on track for those 3 things. I'm already thinking, my perimenopausal brain's like, what was number 2 again? Anyway, we'll come to it, won't we?
I've become driver, personal shopper for children's birthday, stylist, personal trainer to some degree, even though I've got my own pounds to lose. It's,
It's all go. Right. So the number 1 mistake that entrepreneurs... Right, that's our first blooper.
Take 2 and up. Go for it. Go on, dive in.
So I would say the number 1 mistake people make is not having an ideal client avatar. And I don't want to spend this whole podcast defending the right for me to say you need an ideal client avatar, because there's a lot of people out there, and I try and unfollow people and try not to let it sort of impact me, but it's like it's really common to say you don't need one. It's a nonsense, it's out of date, it's silly, it's non-inclusive, it's this, it's that, right?
I've thought that.
Yeah.
We've all thought
it's a lot easier though, isn't it? If someone says to me, you know what, ideal client avatar, you don't need one. Yeah. It's a lot easier. I'd probably make more money if I said that, right? But I know that you do. And it's a hill I'm prepared to die on. And the reason why I know I do is because I've got so much evidence. I've done it so many times with so many people and seen the breakthrough with my own eyes of really experienced entrepreneurs who've been really successful, who do this work with me, and then they go, oh, this is a whole nother level of manifesting in what I want instead of just any client at any price. So I think the problem is that people don't do the ideal client work or ICA work. We'll get that in the notes because... If I get asked once what ICA stands for, but ideal client avatar, so creating and mapping out this one person. So I get asked about ideal client work because people are resistant. They're resistant as fuck. Like,
why? Why do you think it is?
People are scared to make a decision. They feel like by mapping out one person, they're going to eliminate all the rest of the people in the world.
I think that's the most common one. I'm glad you've said that first, because I've come across that with the work I do. Yeah. I've done that as well. I've thought, God, fuck. But I think also part of this is that they just don't have your framework and knowledge on how to do it as well. So I think that's secondary. I think what you've just covered, I think that's the big one.
It is the resistance is real. You know, people pay me many thousands of pounds to sit in a Zoom room with me so I can witness their resistance and work through it with them and not let them stop. You know, because people get so far with it and then they just retreat and they go, oh, you know what? It doesn't really matter. I don't need an ideal client avatar. I can sell it to anybody who wants to buy from me. Any women over 40 who want to lose 10 pounds, anybody who wants to have a podcast, anybody who wants to X, Y, Z, right? They're my clients. And it's almost like there's this attitude from other marketers of like, that it's all somehow it's not necessary. And I will honestly, I will defend it to the death because I've seen the breakthrough it has for people, but the resistance is real, especially in other marketers, because they feel like I should know this stuff.
Yeah.
They actually say that to me. They go, I don't need this. I know it already. And it's like, you can know it, but you can still do it at a deeper level, and you can still, and doing it for yourself is a lot harder than having somebody work through it with you, for sure.
Yeah, sure, of course.
But people are worried. They're like, but if I pick a woman, then what about men? If I pick women over 40, or if I pick women over 40 isn't an ideal client, by the way. If that's the one takeaway, like, you can't be a woman over 40, otherwise I would be instead of 45. But like, the reason why we create an avatar is not to I was going to say disclude. I don't think that is a word, but I could adopt it. But it's not to exclude lots of other people. It's just to define one person. And I think the misconception about ideal clients is you're only ever going to sell to that one person. And it's just not true.
Yeah.
You're going to sell to loads of different people on loads of different levels in loads of different ways. And people will be attracted to you who don't fit your ideal client avatar. And that's fine. You don't say no to people because, but your name's not Emma and you're not 45. It doesn't work. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this, but I do. But you don't always have to publicly say, this is my ideal client. I mean, I do, because it's what I teach. But even though I publicly say one of my ideal client avatars, one is Emily, and she's 46 and she's used to be in corporate. In fact, not even used to be in corporate, used to be a HR business manager so like, you got to give people a name, and we'll talk about this in another episode, but really creating this person, it's just one ideal client, but they're the dream person for me right now for where I'm at. And I think people get really scared of making decisions. And some people just go to pieces. Like, one of the tools that I use, because one of the things we talk about is giving them a name. You have to give them a name. Otherwise, this doesn't work. It's not about demographics. It's about one person. So the one person has a name, assigned a name at birth.
Do you think that's part of the pushback on this? Because what we're discussing in this episode is why isn't it working? Like, why aren't you attracting your dream clients that have all of those wonderful benefits, that you like them, they're fun to work with, they pay on time, you're both growing, it doesn't feel like work to some degree, all that good stuff. And people go, oh, that sounds great, but I ain't got that, or it sounds great and I would like that, whichever framing you're coming at this from. But I think, touching on the point where people go, oh God, if I write this, then how will I attract the other people? Yeah. But what I wanted to sort of like hear from you is because we were talking about this in the car yesterday, and it was along the lines of, I said the values would be universal. The values and the principles of people. It doesn't matter whether you're 18 or 85. Some of the things that you're going to talk about are going to be the same. If someone has a value of, say, trust or joy or love, whatever, them, they're three of mine, but it doesn't matter whether you're 80 or 18, that's going to work. Yeah. And so there's elements of this which just span time, don't they, that are very universal and all that. But then there's elements where if you call her Emma and she's 45 and she's from Chelmsford and she's an HR person, people go, what if there's only one Emma, Helen? Do I only have one client? It's just sort of like crazy thinking, isn't it, that they get stuck in. It's just
a resistance to being laser focused. Yeah. But if there's one thing I would say that people are doing wrong when it comes to ideal client work or attracting ideal clients, it's just relax.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. This is a fun experiential process. It's not your homework. It's not going to be marked by anybody. You can't get it wrong. It's also not fixed in stone.
It's not one and done, is it?
It's not one and done, and that's it forever. It evolves and evolves with you. And that was one of the things that I'll probably talk about, is that evolution for me. But it's like, relax. It's just a bit of fun. Yeah. It's nobody, you're not going to tell anybody. It's just between me and you, or you and you, You're not going to have to say, I only work with this one person.
It's like my little pretend friend, my little,
It is. What did we
call it when we were kids? You had like
imaginary friend.
Imaginary friend.
Well, we talked about that, didn't we? We talked about weird science and how when you create your girlfriend, you don't create any women who are between 20 and 30. You create Brooke Shields because that's what you want, and it's the same with this. It's like, doesn't mean that you're never going to work with other clients. It's just you're going to have the joy and the fun and the opening up of the possibilities of creating this one dream person. And I think if there's one thing I think that people get wrong with ideal clients, take it so seriously. Just relax, babe. It's not a problem. Like it's you can't get it wrong, and you can change it and evolve it as you change and evolve. I think for me, it's people either don't do it at all, or they do it and they don't let themselves go. They don't let themselves relax. They don't let themselves think expansively. They don't let themselves make the actual perfect person. They limit their ideal client avatar because they have limits as a human.
Yeah.
I always say, like, our ideal client has no flaws. They are not human. They are flawless, and there's no friction in the process. You know, the dream client.
This is where
there's no objections. It's all joy. It's all good.
This is where you come in, then, isn't it? Where you can help them break free from those limitations,
limiting beliefs. Like, well, basically, I only attract the clients I deserve. Is the limiting belief? Well, actually, what if you attracted clients that are beyond your wildest dreams? Then what does that feel like? So what we do in session is we raise that vibration of the potential of this person. And then when you feel it and see it, you can manifest it. Yeah. When you're on that. So I listened to a really interesting thing on a podcast this morning. And it was a Mel Robbins podcast, and it was like a roundup one. And she was talking about how there's a guy on, she was talking about manifesting, and he was a neuroscientist and all the rest of it. And he said, most people try and manifest when they're in a bad place. So I thought, this is really true with clients, right? You have a terrible client, you know, you have a client ditch you, you have a client drive you mad, and you're like, I hate these clients, I want better clients. But you're manifesting from an energy of, I hate my clients, or like, this client makes me feel this way, I want better clients. But you're in a desperate, angry state, which is the worst place to manifest. But what we can do in ideal client work is future vision what life would be like with this dream client, which isn't real, but it's this fantasy experience. But you get the energy there, then you're manifesting on a much higher vibration, and you're spending time with that person in that lovely space.
And it changes you.
And it'll change you like on a cellular level, I'm guessing. But it feels differently. And I know that because I've been in those sessions. We call them co-creation sessions, and I've been in them over and over and over again. And the difference in the energy is unbelievable. It's like, it's very joyous for me because I get to witness it. But to see somebody go from where they're at the start of the session to this point, this breakthrough point where they actually start to see what could be possible with the right client, and they see the value in the work that they do and the opportunity for them, then we're really getting into manifesting on a deep level.
Yeah, there's an element of this. You just made me think there when you were talking about this, about like not so much client and provider, you know, in a business concept, almost to a relationship. Concept. You know, like between a couple.
Same thing. Yeah.
God, these principles are universal in that, because you know when you hear people, either it's their first, you know, soulmate that they find or whatever, or they've come out of a relationship where they've broke up with someone and then found their soulmate. This type of language you hear. Yeah. You know, I put it out there. I want, and I was going to be me this time, you know what I mean? Because a lot of sort of relationships that I've heard that haven't quite worked out, I often hear the same phrases, and it's like, I didn't feel like I could be myself. Yeah. Is a common one, you know?
Well, water finds its own level. So that's something that I always think with relationships, is that if you're not in a great place, the people you attract aren't in a great place, and you also stay in your crap place together, water finds its own level. And it's the same with clients. If you're not in a great place and you're pointing out energetically that things aren't good and your clients are all crap and this is really bad and you've got no money, and you sort of operate in and marketing from that place, and it might be true, yeah. But when you actually do the ideal client work and get into a fantasy space, into an energetic space that isn't in reality, isn't in the real world, and get yourself energetically, vibrationally up so that you could just future vision a life with this person. So like you say, you know, this dream person, I'm manifesting my husband, by the way. We'll talk about that on another episode.
That's what I was thinking
but
about.
But actually, I think we're in Best Magazine this week. Or this month. I was like, we're going to be in this women's magazine, babe, because I answered this journalist thing about manifesting your soulmate, and he was like, okay. Anyway, but you can, even if you've got no money in the bank, even if all your clients are shit, right? Even if you haven't got a client, all your clients are red clients, whatever it might be, it's hard to go, well, I'm just going to write amazing content. Yeah, because, and you see this through content, I call it like there's whining energy and there's winning energy. When you're in whining energy, you go to social media or you send an email or you put an offer out that is just whining. Usually social. It's like, this thing's just happened to me. I'm fed up, blah, 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 blah. I hate everyone. I've done it. Yeah, but you're coming at it from whining energy, right?
I'm like, oh God.
And you attract whining energy clients.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, great. I used to do it. I'd be like, oh my God, this thing's just happened, blah, 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 blah. You see it all the time. Like, someone's copying me, someone's doing this, something like that. It's like, everyone's like, oh my God, babe. Like, and you get loads of soothing. And everyone's like, oh, that's awful. And, blah, blah, blah. Poor you and all that. And you feel better. But you attract people who love the drama, right?
It's the old...
Winning energy is when you come off a client call and you are high as a kite. You are like, wow, that was an amazing session. I feel fantastic. I feel 10 foot tall. I'm going to post and I'm going to write some insights that I've just learned and I'm going to share this with the world because the world needs to hear it. That's winning energy. And you get hardly any engagement on that, which is fine, but you attract winners. And it's hard if you haven't got that energy in your business right now. It's hard to do that. But what makes it easier is by spending every day in this fantasy space where things are fantastic and writing from that energy.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's state, isn't it? It's changing your state. It's getting in that place. And the phrase in sort of my repertoire language, it's like attracts like.
Yeah.
So if what you are like today is down and whiny and whingy or
which is
not
fine,
quite
by
feeling
the way.
it. Everybody
just don't post about it.
Yeah. Call your mate. And
exactly. Tell someone else. But then winning energy only, please.
Yeah. Just on that though, there is a place for that. But and we'll maybe come across this later in one of the other ones. But I always think there's a place to put that kind of stuff out because I think everybody's got flaws. Everybody is flawed in some way, and very often people are attracted through oh, you're like me. But I always say to people, don't do that if you're bleeding out, if you're in the wound. Like wait until you've got some help, some time behind you, you've overcome that, you get to the scar. The wound, it's no longer a wound, the difference between a scar and a wound, and then tell the story from the scar. Because then you're in the winning energy then.
Yeah. You're so kind, Mark, because I say people don't buy from people who haven't got the shit together. So get your shit together.
Yeah.
That's what I say to people. Like
that's what I just said, wasn't
it? Vulnerability is
more direct.
Vulnerability is sexy to vulnerable people.
Yeah. But
not to people who want to get shit done.
But if I write like that, I only attract the vulnerable people, and then they never do the work.
And then you end up in a whirlpool of vulnerable people all feeding off each other. And I've seen it, and I've done it, and I get it. But that's not what your marketing is for.
No.
Your marketing is not your therapy. Your marketing is to help you make money in your business. And the more you show it with winning energy, and the more you know your ideal client inside out and you know what they want to hear, your dream client does not want whining energy. Your dream client wants winning energy so they can feel confident and safe. Safety is going to be the big buzzword in marketing because people don't feel safe anymore. They don't feel safe online. We've got AI coming out. People don't believe what they see. They don't believe what they hear. They're not sure about anybody. So to make people feel safe, you've got to be so confident in who you are and what you do and who you do it for, because that gives safety.
Yeah.
That makes people feel safe.
People can feel it when you are without stressing the word, but aligned with that.
Yeah.
They can sense it.
They can sense it because. But it's so easy to get that. This isn't. So people say to me like, "Oh, Helen, you're so confident." Blah 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 blah. But like. It's not something that was given to me. It's something that I've practiced by being really, really secure and confident in the thing that I'm selling. So when we talk about common mistakes entrepreneurs make when attracting clients, is they try and sell everybody everything and solve everyone's huge problems all of the time. Instead of picking something, and you get to choose, right? That's the theme of this podcast. You get to choose, right? Instead of picking something that you enjoy doing, that you know you can do, and you know people get value from, but that you can guarantee. So what I work with a lot of people, they come to me and they're like, this is the offer. And I'm like, no. It's like, I'm going to completely change your life for 200 quid. Well, you're not, are you?
Yeah.
It's a nonsense. So if I can get them to distill it down to the thing they actually like doing instead, because the big common mistake is more. We've got to do more. We can't just show up as us and be a great mentor or a coach or be a great podcast producer. We've got to put something else on top. We've got to juggle and sing a song and do a dance. It's like more. People want more. It's like, no, people want a solution in a simple way, what I call like off the shelf. here's the box. This is what it is. This is what you get. This is the outcome. This is how much it is. This is who it's for. So they can feel safe. This is the right thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, and there's loads of nuances to that. But, you know, I said to somebody like, what's your VIP offer? And she was like, well, you get 20 calls. And I was like, a what? I was like, people don't want 20 calls. That sounds horrendous.
They want an outcome.
They want an outcome. Yeah. They don't want 20 hours of sat talking to you about it. Like, if you can do it in a day, great. Like,
you're selling work.
Yeah, you're selling work. And it's a common thing. It's like, well, I need to give them more and more and more. Yeah. But actually, if you're really selling something simple that you're confident in, it's a lot easier.
They only know what they know.
Yeah,
so
of
it's
course.
That's not like I could have made that mistake.
So have I.
Yeah,
like,
it's not to belittle
100%,
it.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes you just need somebody to look at it and be like, it's just too much. No. Yeah. And the biggest problem in the online space or just in the business space is just all of the people. And I'm part of the problem because I'm one of the people telling you should do things my way, right? So I'm part of the problem. I like to think of the solution as well. But people just get so overwhelmed so quickly. And everyone's got their own agenda and everyone wants to sell you stuff and everyone wants to make money. So it's really hard to know who to trust and to buy from, I guess.
If you took a typical entrepreneur, whether they're online or bricks and mortar, wherever their business is going, I think there are fundamentals that have to be clear. Like, that person needs to know what they want personally.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people I've spoken to and said, what do you want? And their answer to me has been to tell me what they want from their business. Like, I want 10 clients. I want this. I said, no, I'm not asking that. Like, what do you want? As in, so I don't know, let's say that their monthly outgoings are $3,000, whatever, and they want a holiday that they don't go on and they want to live somewhere else, whatever. You can stack all these personal things up. You can put a price on them. And then I try and explain to them that your business is the vehicle to get that through the process of profit, obviously. But then you ask them what they want. And then so I think where you are, I think your work's similar to sort of mine. We bridge both of those because it's understanding what you want. But then there's this other fundamental aspect of, well, who are you then? Who are we going to tell the world that you are and what you do and how you do it and what's in it for them and why you do it? You know, the classic kind of things, so to speak.
But they're classic for a reason.
Yeah, they work. They're principles.
That's the principles. Yeah. And I feel like what I've seen over the last decade is this big shift into, you don't need to do that anymore. That's outdated. You don't need to be really clear. You can be, I've seen it, multi-passionate, blah, blah, blah. You can have it's like you can do whatever you want. But marketing is never going to change. If somebody looking out in at you, if they don't see, is this for me? What's in it for me? How do I get it? And how much is it?
Yeah.
They're just going to be confused.
With your work then, just to help people that are listening to this as well, would it be fair to say that the people that would benefit from listening to this are probably the face and voice of their business?
I'd say so, yeah. Although the principles work no matter what. So when I used to do consulting to big organizations, I would go into the boardroom, there'd be floor to ceiling mirrors, mirrors, that sounds weird, floor to ceiling windows.
What kind of boardroom are you going in?
Like overlooking the river, and there's this huge global organization, and I'm there with a flip chart and pen. I'm like, so who's your ideal client?
Yeah. Little Helen.
And they're like,
40-year-old people.
Anyone, we had this big consultancy in and they told us that this is the demographics. And I was like, who is your ideal client? Like, let's map them out. And I drew my stick person. And we had such a great session. And it's like, wow, they're not doing this at any level.
Even at the big level right now.
Even the big level, And same with, I used to do consultancy with sales teams, get them all to pick your own ideal client and go after that person on LinkedIn or wherever else. Same with, I used to do a lot with recruitment. Defining your ideal client for your desk, if you like, for recruitment. So just the ideal client work gives people the thing that most businesses are missing, and that's clarity. Clarity and focus. And that the clarity and focus helps you strategically, but spiritually, you can relax.
I think what follows clarity as well is once you do a bit then, so you get clear, then you do a bit, you become certain. Because it starts to tell you that it's true, doesn't it? Because like in the last episode, the one I'm sort of sat here watching you, and I'm watching my monitors at the same time, and like you were super passionate and animated about this in a way where you go, wow, she bloody believes this. Like do you know what I mean? Like there's a certainty in that, and I think that couples nicely into the safety, because I get what you mean on safety, and I studied with a guy once about neuroscience, and he said safety is important, all this stuff. But another mentor mentioned it about certainty, and he said people buy people that are dead certain about what they're talking about. That's not to pretend, like you've got evidence, you know this stuff works, just like the backstory there from the boardroom way back when, younger Helen, and then here we are with today's Helen, still saying the same principles. What's the phrase? Principles never change, the methods always do.
Yeah, exactly. Which is quite interesting, because when we're talking about why isn't it working, so that's a really common question when you're consulting with an organization or a solo entrepreneur, and they are doing all of the things. So they've got a funnel. They've got a scorecard, they're running ads, they're doing a 5-day challenge, they're doing all of the things. They're doing their LinkedIn, they're doing Facebook, they're doing Instagram, they're doing TikTok. Yeah. Why isn't it working? And the answer is always ideal client. Haven't got clarity on your ideal client. So the reason why I've segued into this as a complete change from doing LinkedIn, which I always talked about this stuff behind the LinkedIn stuff.
It's part of your process, wasn't it? Anyway,
But the reason is because I've had to go upstream. The problem is not LinkedIn. The problem is people don't know their ideal client.
Yeah.
And that is why all the strategies, the tactics aren't working, is because they've not got that clarity on the ideal client. So every word you write, every color you pick, every, landing page you put together, every offer you put together, every advert you write, every challenge you run, it isn't laser focused for that one person. Doesn't mean other people can't come and enjoy the ride, because they do.
Yeah.
But when I do a challenge and I'm talking to that one person in my head and my heart and my soul now, that person who's experiencing it feels it. Everyone else has a great time, but that one person feels it.
Yeah. And they could be a banger of a client, couldn't they?
Well, they will be a banger of a client.
And we skipped over it a little bit, but at the beginning I was whilst you were talking, I was just thinking, actually, I want to cover this. It's the idea that people could do all of the things, not do the laser focus work that you are like the ambassador of now, really, if anything. And they could still get clients, but it would be less predictable, a bit potluck. Well done, that way. It's like the shotgun approach, shoot a shotgun at the wall, whereas yours is a bit more sniper approach to it. I think what people would benefit from taking away here is, hey, look, you could do either. Both will work in some way. But what we're talking about here primarily is, why isn't it working? So some people might not have even started, and if they start with your methods, it's going to be great because you already know it.
I love somebody who's like fresh. Yeah,
green on.
Like my daughter. She's fresh. She just does it. Everything I tell her to do, she just does it, and it works. Yeah.
And then I think you've got a sliding scale then, haven't you? You've got some people that have tried a bit, it's not worked. They're still early into the game of this type of stuff. Maybe a bit more persuadable and easier to influence. They can hear you. They're hearing you because you are using your methods towards them. And then you'll have people a bit more, I don't know, like whatever. They could be bitter, resentful, pissed off, cynical, skeptical.
Jaded. That's what we call ourselves. Us that have been in the game for 10 years or more. Jaded. Yeah.
A real grizzly.
Heard it all, seen before. Whatever.
This little bullshit. This ain't going to work, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But then it boils back to the fundamental, doesn't it? It goes, hey, so you've been around the block a bit then. So are you doing all the things you just listed off on and Facebook ads? And I go, so let me ask you, and you did this to me last night over dinner. You're like, so when are you going to do your podcast then, Mark? I was like, oh, fuck off, Helen. I'm just enjoying my steak here.
Yeah, you said this year. I was like, what are you waiting for? It's the 7th of January or something.
Because people don't like to be confronted and challenged sometimes. And we were just having fun with that. But yours there would be, why isn't this working then?
It might even be working, but can you make it work even better?
Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's like being open-minded to this. It's like, I'm not here to tell experienced marketers that they're doing anything wrong, because they're not. But what if we worked together, or you adopted some of my principles and just fine-tuned it, and we had fun with it, and we got into a creation space where we actually made things better?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things that you're doing now as an experienced entrepreneur do work and will work. But they were set up 10 years ago, for 10 years ago, and you've changed and your business has changed and what you want's changed and you've had all the success and you're looking at it thinking, well, what next? And you're missing a bit of that joy. Like I said, you're missing a bit of that joy and excitement and those kind of everyday glimmers of this is fantastic and I love my life and I love what I'm doing every single day, not just a bit, like all the time. And like, why not have a go at refining it and trialing it and seeing how you can make things even better?
I've got it written down here. How do you identify when something isn't aligned in your business?
Well, it's a bit like you said then. When things are good above and below the line, so profit's good, money's good, clients are good, you're feeling good, you're feeling aligned, like, you know, you're feeling balanced and everything's kind of good. It's all above and below and it's all positive. That's the feeling we want to create.
Exactly.
But we can create that without that being the experience.
Right.
We can create that by getting into a fantasy state of imagining life like that, being like that. And we can get ourselves, our body and mind and soul aligned with that just by having an intention every day to spend time in that space with yourself.
And that is the fundamental core message here, isn't it?
It's like we can do this, we can create this before we achieve it.
Yeah.
Because we can imagine it. And we know that the mind is a powerful tool. And we've seen all this. Like, I am no neuroscientist. Like, I dropped out of uni like when I had to do presentations. But like, I'm not a neuroscientist, but we know I am big into sport, right? And we know that in sports psychology has transformed people's games, because all the evidence shows that if you visualize something, you're more likely to achieve it, So we've got people visualizing.
It's irrefutable. It's there, isn't it?
But why don't business owners do this? Why don't we have this as a practice? Why don't we every day visualize our dream clients being attracted to us and us really having a business that brings us loads of joy, loads of alignment, how that feels. And we do that by spending time with this dream client and setting an intention to attract them towards us and just starting our day every day in that state, that physical state.
I get that, but how would people identify when it's not working?
Because I feel it.
So it's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
It's not...
It's above and below the line.
Right, yeah.
But if you know when things aren't working, if you've got no money in the bank, it's as simple as that, you know, from a tangible, practical point of view.
Yeah.
But you know when things aren't working, even if there is some money in the bank, when you feel horrible every day.
This isn't really a message that's abundant out there, because when something's not working, people, I would argue there's a good case for this, where if they're above the line and they're more strategic focused, there's something wrong with our ads.
Yeah, let's do more stuff.
Let's get on Instagram now. Let's go do LinkedIn now if we're not doing LinkedIn. They'll move. Would you say there's a good argument for people would probably look in the strategic section above the line, as opposed to below the line, we go, hey, maybe it's you. Yeah. And maybe it's what you're...
How you're feeling and how you're showing up and how, because all of the strategies work. That is not in any doubt. You can find anybody, anywhere, who's had a success on any platform, in any style, anyway. Like, all of the strategies work.
Are we saying then that at some point it's maybe not going to work and it could be this? Or are we saying that do this anyway because it will make life better?
Well, what we're saying is what we said in episode 1, which is like, you'll know when it feels right because it feels right, so you can make money but still feel awful and have a horrible time. But, so it's kind of like, it's aligning the two things.
That's the fear, isn't it? It's like, God, what? I'd do all of that and get all of that. And
because maybe you don't want the business.
I feel dead inside.
That's the question I ask my high level clients. If they're like, I'm stuck at this level, I've got a plateau. I'm not, and these are making like 6-7 figures. Like, they're making loads of money from the outside. Like I said, outside everything's perfect. But like, they're doing all the things, all the strategies in place, all the tool, it's all set up, right? It's just a machine. That's what my business is. My mastermind business, it's just a machine, and we know data, we spend X on ads, we convert at Y and that many people join the program and that's how it works, right? And they're at that level. But if they're feeling misaligned, and the plateau is showing up above the line, so then the launches aren't getting any bigger. The customer service is to see more complaints or more refund. Irrefutable above the line
the
stuff.
Signals.
The signals. Yes, there's symptoms of a problem. And the problem, in my experience, quite often is not strategic. It's under the line. It's below the line. It's on a soul level. It's on a spiritual level. And normally it's because they've achieved what they set out to do and they've not felt It's not felt like they wanted it to, so they don't want more. And that was my experience. I don't want to scale this exact business to 5 million because it's just more of the stuff that I'm not enjoying.
Yeah.
Whereas now, because I've totally changed my alignment and the messaging and everything, it's like, right, let's go. I'm ready to go. I know what it takes. Strategically, I'm not worried.
And you are quite prolific
I'm not worried.
at the moment with your posts. I've been paying attention to your stuff, and I'm like, you're posting a lot, but you're posting consistently. And
I post a lot because I've got a lot to say. And one of the things that people come to me with, why isn't it working? And I'll go and look at their output. Yeah. So the joy of teaching LinkedIn for so many years is I can see what you're doing. Yeah. If you say to me, LinkedIn isn't working, I'll go straight to your LinkedIn. Yeah. And we've got quite a famous call on this.
Don't you dare go to mine. Like, Jesus
we got a call
Christ.
on this inside the program, and we did it. It was called like not made your money back. So in those days, it was like £1,000 to join.
Yeah.
It's like 5 now, but like those days, like £1,000 to join. And I always said, like, you will make your money back if you do what I tell you to do. And then we were in the phase of when everything was like bouncing. And I said, there are people that are complaining and saying it's not working. Let's get them all on the call. Yeah. So it was called like, I've not made my money back call.
I like it.
So I got everyone on the call who hadn't made their money back. And I was like, right, I'm going to look at, let's have a, and I think they thought it would be me doing some, training, coaching, a bit of motivation, kick up the arse. Yeah, which is what I'd normally do, to be honest. But I was like, okay, who's first? Gemma, or whoever it was. Right, okay. And I had my phone. So I was go to a LinkedIn and I'd be like, you've not posted for 3 days. It's like, oh yeah, but my mum's not been great or whatever.
Got a twisted sock.
Yeah. I was like, oh, so you've not posted, there's no video for the last month. I know, but I don't really like doing videos. And you've not done any comments. I know, but I feel weird. Yeah. So what I'm saying to her and all the other people on the call is you're not doing the things you're supposed to be doing. That's why it's not working. Why you're not doing the things is the problem.
And this is the crux now, isn't it?
That was what's happening. Yeah. It's like, well, why are you not doing the things? Yeah. Because the people who were totally aligned came into my program and it was just like magic. Yeah. It was just like, oh, so I'm aligned. So they'd come, and I didn't realize this now, but looking back, they'd come in and be like, hi, Helen, I saw a video of yours. I've sent you the £1,000. I'm in your program. Like, let's get started. So totally different attitude, no objections to overcome and stuff. And then they'd be like, right, I know, basically they'd say, I know who I am, what I'm doing, and I know what my offer is and my pricing is. They didn't need any help with that. And then I'd say, right, do these 3 things on LinkedIn every day. So you need to be adding new people, you need to be posting, and you need to be doing your engagement, and you need to set up your headline and profile like this. So they'd go away, set up the headline profile, do the 3 things a day. They'd be like, oh my God, I got clients are in my DMs within days, weeks. Yeah. Other people who are like, I've been hammering at this away for a year. Yeah. So very rarely in my program, I would have somebody come to me.
So just to pause there. Both people are posting. Yeah. That's the difference here. Both are showing up, both are doing it, both are getting on with it. But where I think if you're listening, you probably join the dots here. One is aligned and one is not.
Yeah. So very rarely someone comes into my program, does everything, very rarely, and doesn't get a result. I'd say 3 people out of 3,000, right? So very rare.
Some weird anomaly just going on.
Yeah, but those 3 people I personally speak to, and within 15 minutes they're in tears. Because I'm like, what is going on? Yeah. I was like, you've been doing all the work. You do. And I'd get there. I'd get those. I'd be like, oh my God, this is great. You're doing the videos. You're putting your offers out. You're doing everything. Like, this is fantastic. This is exactly like star pupil. Why do you think this isn't working?
Under the line.
And they're just bursting into tears. Yeah. They're like, I hate my business. I hate my life. I hate my husband. I hate everything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just fucking miserable. And it's almost like, well, that's why it's not selling, because you don't really want to. And I talked to them about what they really wanted. And it's like, well, I want to leave my husband. I want to set up as something completely different, like a dog groom or whatever. And then I want to do this. And then, so they do that, new headline, new profile, new content. Yeah. A bit like you said, you post a lot, right? And that's what I was getting to. Yeah. People come to me and say, I don't know what to post on socials. I'm like, you're in the wrong business. Yeah. If you can't think of what to say about what you do, you're in the wrong business. And that's the problem. You're not aligned with what you're doing. Because when you love what you do, and you could talk about it forever with anybody, an old lady on the bus, you could talk to her about it.
And that's not a personal insult to them. That something needs to change so that they can redefine and adjust and God, that phrase during COVID, pivot. You know, pivot the business. But what we're saying here is when you do the work that you're suggesting and you're in the wrong business, let's get you in the right business.
Let's get you in the right business. And quite often it's not a whole burn it to the ground.
No, yeah.
So let me give you a
Because that phrase, by the way, is massive with men.
Right.
I'm going to burn all this, like in the world I sort of frequent, because, I tend to be attracted a bit more to the guys, you know what I mean? Watch the guys when you're in that masculine energy and you need a bit of Goggins, that kind of thing. That phrase is abundant. I'm going to burn all this to the ground.
It's not about that. It's about actually just rewinding. If there's one thing to take away from this episode, it's like, stop, breathe, relax. You're fine. You've done nothing wrong. Yeah. But let's just go back a few steps.
Yeah.
And let's pick something you actually want to sell with people you actually want to work with. And it sounds so simplistic, but it's so true. So give you an example. I attract a lot of VAs, virtual assistants, yeah? And they come to me and they're like, I can do anything from diary management, social media. I can do data and entry. I can do all of these things, right? Because I used to be a PA, executive assistant, and I hate, I've had a couple of kids and I didn't want to go back to work. So now I'm a VA.
Yeah.
Great. What do you actually like doing out of those things?
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you like doing? There's a lot of different things. What do you like doing? And then I'd go through them and I'd be like, diary management. They're like, do you love it?
So they're basically saying to you that I can do them.
I can do it, but I don't love it.
The second you give them a bit of a prod, a little bit of
you might have two VAs. One's actually super creative and wants to really do social media, but they're not brave enough to call themselves a social media strategist, right? Yeah. Someone else might be like, I hate all that stuff. So like my VA, Natalie, she doesn't want to do social media and stuff like that. She's traditional, diary and organising my life, and she's great at it. But why would I ask her to do social media? She can do it, but she doesn't want to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of like you get to choose what you do. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to do things just because you can. Yeah. Or people ask you to do them.
That's the phrase, yeah.
It's just like, just do the thing you love and be a specialist, not a generalist. And then when you do that, and again, with a VA, I'm like, don't tell people they have to pay you, on a monthly forever. Just give them a block of 10 hours and see how you go. So they can buy it off the shelf.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you've got an offer, you've got a niche, if you like, and you've got an ideal client. Because again, ideal client, you can be a VA to anyone. Well, look at your values. And I used to ask VAs, like, what are you into? What do you do for fun? What do you like doing? And if someone's like a vegan, yoga, kind of like super spiritual person, they can work for an accountancy, but they're going to hate it. Yeah. Why don't they be a VA for someone who runs retreats? Yeah. Because they're going to love it.
Or in the mindfulness or, wellness space.
You can do it, but why should you? And it's the same, like copywriter client of mine.
Do you think they're waiting for permission then?
Yeah, from me. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, you got to go in, really.
But so they can't seem to get there until you're like the intervention, but then... Sponsored by Beecham's.
I know, yeah.
But where was we? Yeah, so permission. So you're like the intervention that kind of, because I guess this is where these tears come from, because once you say, hey, firstly, relax, we can do this.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
It's no stress.
You release someone of a shackle and then give them permission. You're not really giving them permission.
But it comes up a lot. The permission word comes up a lot in my life. Like people say this a lot. It's like, I just think I was waiting for you to give permission. So now I say that to people. Are you waiting for permission to do the thing you want to do? Or stop doing the thing you don't want to do. Because if you are, I can give it you.
There's usually a lot behind that permission thing as well. And it's things like, I don't feel good enough.
What will people think? What would people say?
Scarcity.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. Yeah.
And my mentor said, I've got to do this. And my mentor said, I've got to do that. But the thing is, people do look at me for the answers.
Yeah.
But I can't give you the answers to what your soul needs.
You're the facilitator.
You've got to go in for that.
You are the facilitator.
You have got to go in for that.
Yeah.
And I think I've fallen into that because I've got that savior complex and I want to save the world and I know I can help people and I just want to give people all the answers. But actually, I can't give people the answers to what their soul desires. I can give them strategic advice and I do. But ultimately, if something doesn't feel right, you've got to go in, which is what the daily practice is about, and say, like, how does this make me feel? Try things on for size. One of the things I say to clients is, like, write down the 3 things you're thinking about doing and spend time with them. Like, and I do this with them. I'll be like, right.
Does part of the process for you involve... I tripped across this as a bit of Sean, my right-hand man, bought me a book, and I'm trying to remember David Keown, Essentialism. Basically declutter your life.
Yeah.
Kind of that was the premise of it. I enjoyed it. It's one of the only books I've actually physically read, because I'm more of an audio guy. But I did read that book actually, which is weird. I wonder now why that was a thing, and it might be because of this. But when I speak to a lot of people, I find overwhelm. Like, fucking hell, I got to do all these things.
I think so. I think there's definitely an element of overwhelm in the mind, body, and soul. Like with this stuff, it's like it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we're under a lot of bombardment of stuff.
Information's coming out as like...
And I think what I see a lot of is people looking outside for the answers. So looking outside for the next thing, the strategy, the book, the person, the course, the program. And again, like, you know, of course, lots of people have joined my program, which is great.
Plenty out there. It works.
Yeah, it does. It works. But I think what I would say is, in terms of like a takeaway from today, like we talked about, my high achieving ideal clients love a bit of homework, right?
Give me something to do.
Yeah. So I would say the takeaway or the homework for today, it's so funny because I hate homework, so I would never want, it's funny, isn't it? Your ideal client isn't always a version of you, but is write down all the things in your business that you currently do. Yeah, all the things you do in the business, like behind the scenes, and all the things that you do in front of house, right? It can be a list, you can do a drawing, whatever. But then I want you to look at each one and close your eyes and go in. How does this make me feel? Just put your finger on it if you like. Like, how does this one make me feel? And just a millisecond, breathe into it, and your body will tell you how it makes you feel. Yeah, you can do this with anything. You can do it with pricing. What should I charge for this? Write a few options down, put your hand on each one, go in, close your eyes. How does this make me feel? And your body is the biggest, best dowsing rod there is. So you can ask me about your pricing strategy all day long, right? I can give you an answer. And sometimes I will. I'll just be like, well, just do this. Because sometimes you just got to go for something. But it's how does it make you feel? And it's, again, use the red, amber, green. There'll be things you do in your business that are so red that you just got to get rid of them. You got to delegate them. You got to ditch them. You got to find somebody else who loves doing that thing, right? To do the thing. The same with like your offers and your programs and your pricing. Like you said before about sometimes we just need to get rid of stuff. So it might be get rid of a Facebook group. It might be ditch a program that you've been flogging for years, but it just doesn't feel great anymore. It might be changing the thing that you talk
cathartic.
about.
It's cathartic. Spring
it
clean,
is. It's making some space. And also looking at things that really bring you joy and think, how can I bring more of that in? You know, how can I do the things that I really love in my business?
So it's looking at both sides of
it's up leveling. The thing is when you do the things you love in your business, and again, it's not that easy when you first start out and you got to do everything and all the stuff you don't want to do as well. I get that. But, you know, people say to me, wow, your life's amazing because I don't do anything. The only things I do in my business and my life are the things that it has to be me. Yeah. So
but that's taken a while to get there, hasn't it?
But this is life by design. This was always the plan. So slowly and surely and strategically, I've eliminated, delegated, deleted things out of my life and mainly outsourced things. So like that is at home as well as at work because I need to have headspace, like you said. So little things like I've got key fobs on the front door. So we don't have front door keys in our house, so we can't lose them. Brilliant. So everyone can get in, key fob, you just scan the thing on the back of your phone and you're in the house. For example, have a housekeeper, have a cleaner, have somebody who walks the dog every day. Doesn't mean I don't want to walk my dog. I love walking my dog. But do I want to have to think every single day I've got to walk the dog? No, it's like a bonus thing I get to do. I get to walk the dog when I want to. It's not something that's in the back of my mind thinking I've got to remember to do that. You know, so there's loads of things that I outsource at home and also in my business and only do the things that I love and the things that need me. Everything else somebody else can do. And I think sometimes people need permission to like do that. It's almost like we were brought up that we've got to work hard to make money. We've got to, you know, do the hard things if we want a good life and all that. Well, actually, you can create a life by design that feels easy and fun and enjoyable.
What's the first step then for people...
Get a cleaner. Get the cleaner. Get the damn cleaner. If there's one takeaway from today, it's get the damn cleaner. Everybody listening to this, please get a cleaner. It's an amazing thing to do for yourself. It's an amazing thing to do for them because they get a job that they enjoy doing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. Like my housekeeper, Katie, she loves it. She's organising my cupboards. All the beans are facing the right way. She's putting labels on things.
Single white female.
In the fridge to make sure things go out of date. Like she loves it. She's got 3 kids under 6. She's like, I can't wait to come back to work for a break. Yeah. You know, she stands in my kitchen folding laundry. She's like, I'm so happy.
But where I'm going with this is I get that, and that has its place. I'm not belittling that. But what is really the first step in uncovering why things aren't working with your client attraction? And
I think the first thing is it's the self-awareness and the being honest with yourself. So taking that step back and be like, it's okay, everything's going to be fine. Yeah. We're going to take a minute. We're just going to take a step back. We're going to check in with ourselves about how this is feeling.
I think that's the important part. It's like, don't
panic.
Don't panic. Yeah. Don't be bad to yourself.
Yeah. Don't be bad to yourself. It's okay.
Take a breather. We're just going to take a little time out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's a very important gift to yourself to give yourself the time to think about what you want in your business and does it feel aligned, and do the exercise where you write things down, put your hand on them, and look at your life at home as well. It's really important, by the way.
So both from work and
at home. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there, I'm going to say mainly women, who are in the space where they are doing everything mental load wise. Yeah. Drop the rope on that shit. Honestly, like I know you can't drop everything, but really look at delegating stuff at home, if not to a professional, to your partner.
Yeah, or at least embrace that thought first and say, right, okay, because it takes steps to get there, you know, like things cost money. There's the practicalities of things. And then,
you know, you can make more money in your business by being in your business and cleaning around the back of your toilet. Yeah. You really can. And, you know, and I get it. Some people love cleaning and it's like meditation for them. So it might not be the cleaning, but it could be something else. But whether it's looking after your emails or anything or booking your holidays.
There's people out there that want to do it as well.
Yeah, there's people out there who love it. So like anything that's just gives you a bit of a headache and takes up your headspace. Yeah. And I'll ask for help. That's what I would say. You know, getting a cleaner in, I started off with once a fortnight for 2 hours. That's how I started. Now I've got somebody in 3 days a week. So like, that's how I started. But also, if you've got a partner, ask for help. Like I said to Stu, like I hate doing laundry. So Katie will do it in the week. My children do their own laundry. At the moment, they're like 17 and 19. They do their own laundry. Yeah. And Stu does the bits and bobs at the weekend. Yeah. And that's just me being honest and saying, look, you know, there's lots of things I'm good at. I love cooking, for example. I'll cook all day, but you know, just making decisions on things that you don't want to do is just be honest with yourself and find a way to not do them.
Where we're going with this is why isn't stuff working? And I don't want to steam off the point here with outsourcing, as it were, because that's where we're going a little bit with this. But it's along the lines of what's the first step to uncovering why things aren't working. Yeah, and I think asking questions.
Yeah, but looking at that map of above and below the line, what's happening in real life, and what's happening in my soul.
Yeah, but I want you to now sort of say to the listeners, like asking questions is one thing, but as you said, feelings. So what you're saying is, and I don't want to steal your words, I'll let you do it, but it's along the lines of write those things down, have a little think about those, now ask how they feel. That's what we're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, look above the line of what things
strategically
at home and at work. Yeah. But what are the things that you have to do? Yeah. So there's no choice, you know, you have to do some things and that's fine. You might not love all of them. Yeah. What are the things that you do because you want to do, you know, and what are the things you maybe want to do in the future that you're not doing?
That you'd love to do.
Yeah. And just spend some time like thinking about things that you can get rid of, things that you can do more of. You know, if you love something, do more of it. And also strategically what works. Yeah. So I know if I go on a podcast, I will get clients. Yeah. You know? So like the more podcasts I can get on, the more clients I get, right?
It's predictable.
So it's a strategic move. Yeah. So but then it's like, well, how do I get more podcasts? Well, I need to tell my VA who loves it to go and find me podcasts to get on and pitch me and book them in my diary, and I show up and I do it because that's only I can do the podcast, right? Yeah. So it's valuable work, it's enjoyable work, and it's impactful work. Yeah. So great, do more of those things. But other things that don't need me, like the organization around that, If I had to organise all my own podcasts, I'd never go on one because it's just not my zone of genius, right?
She's lit. Why is she?
So you've got a plan. I want to be on more podcasts, but you also need a strategy. How are we going to do that? But you also need someone to make it happen. And if it's not you, you need to find somebody and pay them to do it, which allows you. So for me, I just want to be in my like Beyonce energy. I want to just show up and do my thing. I don't want to be putting the chairs out and make sure everyone's got a drink. So like knowing that, play into that strength, and then strategically aligning things around that, I think is really important.
Yeah.
Because I know how it makes me feel.
And at work.
Yeah. So just the podcast as an example. So when I look at get on more podcasts, my first thought is, I don't want to do the organization. Yeah. So for some people, that might be the end of it, you know? Because I know trying to do the organization makes me feel like shit. Yeah, because I don't like it, I don't enjoy it, it's frustrating, it's bitty and weird, and it's tech involved, so I don't want to do it. So for some people that might be the end of it because they just don't want to do it. But for me, I'm like, I don't want to do that bit, so I'll find someone to do it, because the benefit of doing the podcast massively outweighs the hassle of finding someone to help me make it happen. So I think that's the thing of looking at what isn't working and what is working. How can you do more of what's working? What needs to happen to do more of what's working, and also to lose some of the stuff that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, like good practical advice, isn't it? That, yeah, that's good. Should we wrap up there? I think that has covered what we wanted to cover in why isn't things working, and it's covered a lot of ground there.
I know we've been on a journey.
Yeah, been on a journey. It's a good one. I've got down here, just to wrap this up, write down 3 areas in your business where you feel stuck or misaligned. If someone wants something simple, I guess that's just a simple one that they could use.
Yeah.
And also, though, not just write them down as some arbitrary list, but actually ask a question. How do I feel about that? When I go inside, I take a deep breath, maybe close your eyes, or maybe go for a walk. I actually find when I walk and think of stuff, it's a bit better for me. It's just stewing in the fucking office. I get distracted, then I'm on YouTube and I'm not going to make a coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
So just find your environment to do it, and then tune in and just note the feeling. Yeah. Right? Write the thing down, note the feeling, and it's a start, right?
Yeah, awareness is the first step, always.
Yeah, always, yeah, great. And I think we'll wrap up there. So thank you for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
See you in the next one.